Yo, 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 we are back with another episode of the Unsilent Church podcast, and we got a special guest in the building. We got the man, the myth, the legend, Derrick Parks. What up, brother? How you doing?
It's a nice setup.
That was a nice setup. I don't know about all that, but it was a nice setup. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Glad to be here.
You know when DJ Envy be on the Breakfast Club?
Yeah.
You know, everybody's a special guest. He's like, "Hell, man, if everybody's special, is anybody special?"
Well, that's true in this case.
Yeah, man. Well, it's good to have you here in the podcast and in the studio doing this and whatnot. And yeah, man, we love to. I mean, for those that may not know who you are and whatnot, we'd love for you to kind of explain a little bit, just maybe who you are, your background, your story.
For sure.
And yeah, so we can get into a great conversation.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I'm a bondservant of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Come on.
Plain and simple, man.
Yeah, that's like the introduction in like every one of Paul's letters. You know, just to get that straight.
It's the trump card too.
That's how you know you're talking to a pastor. You're like, hey, you know, let me open this up. You know, the way my
if I open up deep, then any other stuff I say,
we got a pastor in here.
You know, it's cool. So, but yeah, man, I pastor a church called Epiphany Church in Wilmington, Delaware.
Delaware,
yeah, way on the other side of the country.
Do you know Whit?
Yeah, I know Whit.
Come on, dog. We go.
Yeah.
Shout out to Whit.
Shout out to Whit. Yeah, shout out to Whit. He's doing big stuff, man. So,
pastoring
the church there. I started on ground in 2016. Just transported in, didn't know anybody, didn't have any core team members or anything. We knew one family who let us host a Christmas party at their house in December of 2016, and we started having Bible studies in May of 2017, and officially launched the church in April of 2018. And so came there from Camden, New Jersey, where I'm from. CMD, you know. But yeah, I was from Camden, and we had planted a church there, an Epiphany Fellowship church there, back in 2010, 2011. And prior to that, I was on the core team at Epiphany Fellowship in Philadelphia. Back in 2005.
So you was on the core team for that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was on the core team there.
Wow. It was with Eric Mason.
There with Eric Mason.
Deuce.
There with Deuce. Yeah, we were actually before Dr. Mason came. There was a group of us meeting at Cross Movement Studios. And we were there praying for a church plant to get started, knowing that Eric Mason was going to come and serve as the lead pastor, and him and Deuce was going to rock out together. And that was the plan.
Deuce is the ambassador for those that may not be familiar.
William Deuce Branch.
Cross Movement is, for those who don't know, probably the one of the quintessential Christian hip hop pioneering Christian hip hop groups. Probably one of the first ones that really launched Christian hip hop.
Correct.
Sure. Yeah, so early. It was like Cross Movement. I remember, when I was in school listening to a dude named Alpha Soldier. He wasn't in Cross Movement, but it was like back in that time period when like Christian hip hop was not.
It
was all over the place. It wasn't what it is today when you think like you rock in the stadiums and stuff like that. This is like. Yeah. I mean, I just remember, I was always listening to hip hop, but mostly, secular hip hop. Yeah. A few people here and there. And I remember the first time I heard a Cross Movement album, I'm like, oh. You're like, hold on, wait, what? The production on it, everything. Anyway. But
that's back in the day when you had, in Philly, you had a cat named Han Soul. I mean, he was like a Christian hip hop pioneer. You had the Cross Movement. Up in New York, you had Corey Red and Precise.
Yes.
I mean,
Corey Red,
Corey Red and Precise, man, they was rocking back in the day. Christian hip hop was in its infancy.
Yo, this is so early. I mean, like 2003, 2002, early 90s probably.
This is infancy, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
golden age of hip hop is probably like, 90s, mid 90s, like 90s, something like that. And then right in with them was like, I mean, it's really, and again, you probably taking heat back then too, because it's just like, man, what y'all with this corny stuff talking like this is hip hop, and then whatever y'all talking about, like we ain't.
Well, it was crazy. It was crazy heat because, I mean, the Christian radio stations like Holy Culture and like all those things were kind of just getting going. And particularly for the church, we were particularly praying because we had tried to integrate into, I'm saying regular churches. We tried to integrate into just regular Black Baptist churches. And they kept telling us to take our hats off. We was trying to integrate into, evangelical white churches, and they just didn't understand us at all. And so we started praying and laboring like over this like burgeoning sense of like, we need to do something that's relevant for our people. Right? We need to do something that's relevant for people who speak our language. And the heat of that was like, we were getting blamed for trying to start a hip hop church. And it was like, nobody's trying to start a hip hop church. Like, we just want a church.
On that, I need you to confirm or deny this. I heard this from a source. On that note about a hip hop church. So you know how churches have like community groups, small groups, life groups? I heard that y'all started cipher groups. For those that don't know, ciphers are like little, you know what I'm saying? Cats get in they get in a little circle and they start spitting some bars. Ciphers. Can you confirm or deny that there was cipher groups?
Well, I think they call their small groups cipher groups, right?
We got
you got to come off the mic a little bit. You coming in hot.
I can confirm that we had cipher groups.
So it was a hip hop church.
Well,
so it was a hip hop church then.
Listen, I can confirm that we had cipher groups, and there were ciphers occurring at the groups. But I will deny that we were a hip hop church. I mean, we just essentially Philly was the hub. I mean, Philly was the hub of all things Christian hip hop. In the early 2000s, it was the hub. I mean, everyone in Philly. You had groups like Redeemed Thought, like with Stephen the Levite. You had groups like Everyday Process, like
Stephen the Levite, boy.
Like Mac the Doulas and like
Mac the Doulas.
You know what I'm saying?
Bring me back.
You know what I'm saying? Like you had groups like that. You had crazy lyricists. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
like
Stephen the Levite might have been I think he was like, no, Stephen the Levite. Stephen Levite.
Oh, Stephen Levite.
Lyrically,
guy,
I was just
Shylin.
like,
lyrically, you had Shylin. That one of the illest dudes. I said his name already, but Act Davis, man, like y'all probably haven't heard of him.
I know.
He's a Philly, like I mean, the cat. If you got opportunity to listen to his mixtape, like I mean, we were waiting with like bated breath for my man Act to drop. And you had cats like Young Josh, who's he's having a resurgence right now. You know what I'm saying? But
I remember him.
He was back then like rocking, and these are all Philly cats. And so all these dudes were in Philly, and we needed a place where like they could have authentic community with people who looked like them, thought like them, dressed like them, spoke their language. Because in most environments, we were either an outlier and people just didn't understand us. Or we were outcasts.
I was gonna ask, when did Lecrae come in?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because he wasn't Lecrae also part of Cross Movement at some point?
Yeah,
or
we're going back. So early on, Lecrae would come down to Cross Movement Studios, because remember he was popping. Like he was popping.
This is
Jesus music.
Absolutely, he was popping. He was popping down south. And so like we were at the studio and he would come through and they were about to sign him. And back then
he used to be on the site, I remember.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was because
Rebel Music, right?
Yes, because Tonic was
with Real Talk. It was Real Talk.
Real Talk. Tonic was a mastermind from the Cross Movement.
Yeah.
He was a mastermind and he just knew what worked in terms of music. And so like he was down south, Lecrae was bumping, he would come up and hang out at the studio and we would hear his music. And back early 2000s, if you're from up north, on the East Coast, everything is about New York style hip hop, Philly style hip hop, the boom bap, like all that down south rap, like Outkast and all that kind of stuff. Like we wasn't really rocking with that stuff. And so to hear a cat coming with that similar sound, it was just kind of like, that's what's up, man. Good job, you know. But then, you know, Lecrae took off, man, and you know, shout out to him. He's an incredible artist who's lasted the, you know, test of time. But back then, that was just Lecrae, you know.
I wonder, like when we talk. I mean, you said you denied y'all being a hip hop church, but there's conversation now, you know, that's happened because of the nature of our society and the way things are polarizing, where people are trying to speak out against the idea of being a black church.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you take into account what happened to Richard Allen, then you go, is it not kind of the same thing? You have a group of people raised by a culture who want to follow Jesus, but look and speak and have customs of a certain type.
There's no space for them in the current church.
And there's no space.
Yeah.
Where do they go? And what do you call that?
Yeah.
And maybe it's a misnomer to say, oh, they're trying to start a hip hop church.
Yeah.
But if you understand what's going on, you're saying, no, these are just hip hop dudes who want a church.
Absolutely.
And then they form together.
Yeah, that's good.
Whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Whatever you call the thing. Yeah, you know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, like, is it so wrong to say, oh, what they started was a hip hop church?
Yeah, and in that sense, I mean, that's a very good observation. And so, in that sense, it was it was an ideal to create a safe haven for people who couldn't find themselves in other spaces. And so there was one sense that to be, and I use these terms loosely, but to be evangelical in your presentation, to be reformed in your presentation, had on white face. And so if you were going to fit that mold, you had to present a certain way. And we were just of the mentality and mindset that Jesus cared little about our presentation. He cared more about our hearts.
Absolutely.
And so we were a bunch of cats, men and women.
1,000%.
Right? Who loved Jesus. Here's the other part of it, wanted to be missionaries. Like, and we were looking around at our culture and seeing our culture as a mission field.
That's right.
It wasn't that like we were disconcerted with you know, the realities of how we had been raised inside of the black church and all those kind of different things. It was this reality that like we're raising up in this culture, and we're seeing this culture in desperate need of the gospel, and we're seeing this culture as in need of concerned missionaries who are going to go to them specifically and can have connection points with them, and know what it means to have their experience, who knows what it means to have their story, and who knows what it means to connect with Jesus in a real way without shedding your personality in order to do that.
That's good.
So let's dig a little more into the experience of planning Epiphany in Philadelphia. I have a roadmap here in terms of I want to kind of hear what you learned, what was experience like in Philadelphia, then what it was like in Camden, and then Wilmington. So kind of those three. Because there's things that happen in all three of those spots, right?
Oh, yeah.
And this gets, you know, for those who are wondering, I mean, this gets into sort of the thing I really want people to hear is just what it's like to plant in areas that people generally don't want to plant in, that don't have resources behind them. You know, I remember, you know, we planted Roosevelt in 2005. And this was not a cool spot to plant a church. Downtown Phoenix was dead, dying. Even more so for places you planted churches. Church planting networks were not like eager to fund those kind of things. And so, so talk to me about like, obviously there's some great things that happened with Epiphany Philadelphia, some challenging things.
For sure.
What was your experience there?
The way I got connected to Philly in the first place was I was at Philadelphia College of the Bible.
Gotcha.
And so it became Philadelphia Biblical University, and now it's Cairn University. And so I was there when it was Philadelphia College of the Bible, and then it became Philadelphia Biblical University. And so I was there, and that's where I met all these dudes who were, you know, coming out. They were all in Bible college. I mean, I rode around with the truth.
Got you.
You know, he mentored me, you know, because I used to sleep on his on his living room floor.
That's crazy.
You know, and I would drive him to different spots when he had a tour. He hadn't had an album yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
He hadn't released an album. And so like I met him through Bible college. And so
that's crazy.
Which led me to meet all these, you know, all these other guys just from being in, you know, in that circle. And so we were at Bible college together. And so to the core of that, you know, it was that sense of discipleship, right? We all had a desperate desire to be discipled.
Right.
We grew up in these churches, and for most of us, our biggest complaint was like, no one is teaching us how to grow. Yeah. Now, some of it was our immaturity, because there were things there were mechanisms there to disciple us. We were just too immature to receive it. So
what does that mean?
So what I mean by that is like we looked at the garment that the discipler was wearing, and that the discipleship was packaged in.
Got you.
And we determined that it wasn't sufficient to disciple us.
Okay.
And that was because of our immaturity. But as a whole, like we were longing for discipleship in a way that could connect with us.
Yeah.
And so at the onset of Epiphany, that's exactly what it was. It was this culture of discipleship.
Yeah.
I mean, and I mean that in the realest sense. Like you had people who like we there was a house that dudes were living in. Like at one point it was like 12 dudes living in this house, and like, you know, nobody was paying bills or nothing like that. It was crazy, right? So, but like we're in there and like we're seeking to be discipled, and like we're spending time with each other, like, and we're spending time with the leaders, like being poured into and being discipled. And for us, man, it was like everything we ever wanted. Like, and we didn't know how to qualify it yet, but we knew it was just something that we desperately needed.
Yeah, no, those times are sweet.
Yeah, and so it was an early sense in the church of deep discipleship occurring at every level. You know, back then we'd be like, let's chop it up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the language we would use, right? And so like we would sit down with dudes like, you know, like Deuce, Ambassador, and he would really chop it up with us. Like he would just like teach us and like talk to us about the word. And like Dr. Mason, like he would
and
sit
show
with
you
us
and open it and be like, look at that word right there.
Yeah,
you see this? You
absolutely.
see that? Bro,
like Dr. Mason had a early morning discipleship group. Like that was like 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Right. And if you was late, like, nah, you gotta go. Like if you missed, like you're out the group. Like, cause it was intensive. Like it was, you know, you gotta be on this stuff. And so that was the culture early on in the environment. And so, you know,
the church grew from that.
And the church grew from that. I mean, you got to think about it. Like some of the early Bible studies would be at, you know, Deuce's house. And there were people standing outside on the porch, listening in through the screen door, just to be a part of the Bible study.
Dang.
I mean, there were people in the kitchen, like while the Bible study is going on, clustered up like this with their Bibles,
hanging on to every word,
every word, because we all wanted to be discipled
like that.
Man.
And so that was just the nature of Epiphany Fellowship in Philadelphia. And you know, as the passage of time happens, you know, things happen. And you know, a lot of those things were tragic in nature, and like a lot of hurt, you know, for a lot of people. And so, you know, it's a lesson to be learned in all of that, in that for some of us, we idolized the leader over against the Lord.
Yeah.
Can I press on that a little bit?
Sure.
So basically, it was a failure with one of the leaders. That's what we're alluding to.
Well, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't really want to fast forward over that too quickly. I think I don't want to go into detail.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not going.
But the
into
reason,
detail.
no, I know. But the reason I want to sort of like slow down and sort of like stay on the things happened, which were tragic, is because it feels some kind of cyclical. When people talk, before we came on, we talked about church hurt. We know that from Black church. Yeah. We know the stories. If you've grown up in Black church, been around Black church, like one of the issues I used to have growing up, just as a young Christian, I did not like being in high school and hearing the other Black students in my class make fun of what it was like being in church. I was like, we should like this.
Yeah.
Now, I would still go to church and be like, you're trying to figure it out, because I knew the kind of dudes. I knew what it was like growing up on my block, and I knew the dudes that would come to, for us, we had, stuff on Fridays, but I knew the kind of neighborhoods and the high schools and what's going on and the parties we would go to in the house. Like, the kind of life people are living. But there is still a thing in my experience growing up in church where I was like, I feel like this should be more real, feel more real. It shouldn't be made fun of. This is an important thing. Mm-hmm. And when I would hear the way like conversations would go around Black church, I always thought that was a problem.
Yeah.
Then as I got closer into it and you start to hear how these stories happened all the time, you're just like, oh, this is why people don't take it seriously. Mm-hmm. And then we find ourselves in what feels like, a beautiful era. Like, I remember viscerally what that felt like. Yeah. Being in a house full of dudes and chopping it up. And like my love for Bible study sort of awakened because I saw the way a contemporary, which is what we would say back, it's just like, I never saw a dude my age reading the Bible as intensely as he did. Like, looking at it like this, like finger on his mouth, like, what is this? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I read the Bible, but not like that. And I went, oh, I'm not reading it right. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And then things happen.
Yeah, things happen.
And you go, man, did it feel like more of the same? Because again, you have people, what seems like, and this is not me speaking from the outside in, it feels like, what was a time frame where it was like, man, nobody's talking to us. Now someone is talking to us like us. It's like FUBU 2.0. It's like, yo, this is like CHH FUBU like stuff. Like, hey, this is where we come from. This is how we talk in the neighborhood. This is what happens when we go to the homie house and we play whatever. And now they talking Bible like that to me. Mm-hmm. So I found something that's mine, not my parents'. Yeah. But now something is happening in this space in the same way it did when I was at my parents'. Mm-hmm. And that kind of like, and obviously maybe there was a lifting up that happened of those people, or was it just just thinking it's a different thing and not realizing like, oh, we are still people.
Yeah, I want you to answer that because that was a good setup. From what I was watching from the outside, it does seem like you guys had to work through a lot of people's like, oh, this is, I really trusted in this. It fell apart. Mm-hmm. And you're right. That stuff that does happen in churches. It does. So how do you guys navigate that?
So that was a great framing for the question. Because this ain't the Shannon Sharp podcast. I'm not Cat Williams. Right. Not about to expose things. No, you know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. I think we've said enough. People know what it's like when leaders fail, when things don't happen. That's what we're talking about. That happened with you guys. What did you do?
For sure.
And shameless plug, this is the Unsilent Church podcast, just for people to know. Absolutely. But we'll take Shannon Sharp's views. All the views he got that Cat Williams, we'll take those views.
We'll take the views.
Not the controversy, but the views.
For this episode particularly, no. So I will say this. One of the things that's common even today is we will very quickly push back against prosperity gospel. Mm-hmm. But none of us is willing to push back against the popularity gospel.
Oh.
And break that down. So there's a sense
that's very good.
Then and today.
Still the same.
The more popular a person is, the more godly they are. And the more we aspire to be near them. And to emulate them.
It's the same thing.
It's the very same thing today. Mm-hmm. And I'll argue that it's the same thing that it has always been, because one of the things that Satan tempted Jesus with was to make him well known.
I will give you the kingdom.
All the kingdom. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that's innate in us that we've been struggling with, for a long time. And so I think that was the reality. Yeah. As much as we tried to push back against this popularity culture at Epiphany.
Celebrity culture?
It just existed. Yeah. It existed. You were in close proximity to some of the biggest names in Christian hip hop. And people wanted to be near. And as a result, there was a lot of idolization that occurred.
Yeah.
And so just to be clear, like back then, like if you listen to Christian hip hop, you weren't listening to anything else.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have no secular music in your diet. It was, and that was just kind of like the culture of Christian hip hop was like, nah, this is an alternative. Listen to this. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that nowadays. It's just like, you know, we listen to now.
Yeah.
But back then, like if you listen to Christian hip hop, that's all you listen to.
That's what you listen to.
That's what it was.
And so
if you're a real one, that's what you listen to. Your main source of consumption at that time, you know, were these artists. And then
they're all in the church with you.
They're all in the church with you, walking by you, and you're like seeing them. There was this deep sense within the culture of that was unhealthy.
Yeah.
Unhealthy on the part of those who were idolizing, or was it also the intoxication and the sort of embrace of that idolization that then led to some of the unhealthy behaviors?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I wonder if they fed each other almost.
Well,
they feed each other for sure. They did. And from my vantage point, as a guy who was connected to them prior to the church beginning, I could see like the culture sort of rising, and it always felt weird to me. And so I would end up saying things like, why y'all acting like that?
Yes. Yeah. Why are you talking like that?
And it didn't help that I was, you know what I mean? I'm from Camden. John knows what that means, right? Like I'm from Camden, and how my kids would say it today, we didn't do glazing. Yeah. Like it just, I'm like, why y'all acting like that? That's weird. Like, right. They're just dudes. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And so that was sort of like my perspective about it. And it led to when things happen, man, it led to a lot of hurt.
Yeah.
And Epiphany had a hard time. You know, it was a tough season.
How long?
I mean, probably two years of a tough season of like dealing with the backlash of turnover, lots of turnover, lots of backlash, lots of separation, lots of division, that kind of stuff like that. But
you're able to get through on the other side.
To get through on the other side. Epiphany's going to celebrate 20 years, you know, of inner city gospel ministry.
Praise God.
So some of that was just to get through the other side required almost a culture reset, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
It became like, so why are we doing this?
Absolutely. It became a culture reset for the church. And so, you know, and one of the things, you know, for me, I mean, Dr. Mason is, you know, a quintessential leader, you know, a pastor's pastor. Like he has the heart of a shepherd. He loves people, and he's is an amazing brother and friend. And to watch him endure all of the things that he's endured, in ministry and in life, you know, I mean, he's dealt with so many things, and to see, you know, the Lord preserve his ministry to this point, like it's incredible and an encouragement to me as I'm now pastoring a church that I planted in the midst of an environment that has experienced some similarities in terms of betrayal and you know, all the things of the like. It's just an encouragement that.
So what led to that? So you were at Epiphany.
Yeah.
get through that, and then Epiphany starts planting churches. They plant Camden, and that leads to Wilmington. So what? After experiencing all of that, why would you say I'm willing to? I'm willing to do this myself.
So listen, it was never in the cards for me. I will say that. So when Camden got started, it was easy for me because I'm from there.
Yeah.
And
with Doug Logan.
Doug Logan, who Dr. Doug Logan. I want to be clear, Dr. Douglas Aaron Logan. And so, he is the craziest evangelist I've ever met. Like right before we came in here, me and Pastor John was at this spot called, what's the spot? Snooze. Oh, yeah. For breakfast. And there was this girl in there and we were talking to her, evangelizing, and like, the reason I'm like that.
That's why we were late, y'all. That's why we were late.
That's why we was late to recording. But the reason that I'm like that is because of my ministry training with Doug Logan. Like Doug Logan's never met a stranger in his life. Like he's never met a stranger. And so my ministry training with him taught me like how to like get on the ground. And here's an important piece that I will answer your question, Vermo. Is how to plant the gospel, not plant churches.
Come on now.
Like we were so interested in the gospel being planted in Camden.
Wow.
That we didn't care if the church took off.
I do think there's a difference.
For sure.
Between planting the gospel and planting churches. Mm-hmm. But there is also, from like a vernacular perspective, the idea of people, when it comes to doing the kind of planting that you're talking about, it involves you being involved in social situations.
For sure.
Such that you have to plant the gospel among these social situations. And people are like, no, you don't do that. Like there's the social thing. Yeah. Or you preach the gospel. Mm-hmm. And that's different than what you're talking about in planting the gospel. They say, no, plant churches, preach the gospel, leave the social stuff too.
Oh, it's very different. And so I get what you're saying in terms of the vernacular of all of that and like the lingo of people who want to limit the scope of the gospel to just words, right? The scope of the gospel is much larger than that. And so for us, planting the gospel in Camden meant this, like the pastors of the church, they all lived on the same block. And so all the people who lived on that block knew all the pastors, and they knew this is where I can go if I need help. Yeah. They knew that Pastor Doug was going to talk to them, and he would cut their hair, and he would help them figure out how to fix their car. Like, and when the basketball court at the end of the street needed to be repaired, that Pastor Doug was going to figure out how to get it done and make sure that the nets got fixed. And he was going to call on partners from across the country to help us redo this E-spot, which was the basketball court that we refurbished and put new nets on and did the asphalt. Like, they knew that that's what we were going to do. They knew that, like, if they were breeding dogs, that we was going to breed dogs too, and that we were going to be at the dog shows and we were going to be sharing the gospel at those dog shows. Like, that's what planting the gospel was to us.
So like tangible, actual hands and feet of Jesus.
Tangible hands and feet, Jesus type stuff.
Neighbor love.
Be involved in. I mean, it's almost being involved in the community. Like here are the rhythms of the community. Here's the life of the community. Yeah, we're living with them. We're among them.
We're among them.
I mean, in a lot of cases, it's community development.
Yeah,
like there's real investment. There's real money being spent. Yeah. And the reason why I ask it that way and talk about like the way we talk is sometimes in these conversations, the way we use language makes it feel like it's very, it's emotional. It's obviously spiritual, but it's financial. It really is like an investment. Money has to get spent. Somebody's time has to get spent. Like I have to learn skills or find someone to help you or find somebody with the skills. And then, if I don't have the money, help you find somebody with the money so that like this actually works. And the investment in communities and real estate and planning and all those things like matter. And that's a life that we all do live. Black, white, brown, red, yellow. Like We all live in those same neighborhoods. We all know people who are in these spaces and on councils, but sometimes it feels like when we talk about planting the gospel, we forget that we live in cities and neighborhoods and school boards and PTA meetings. And it's like the actual real day-to-day life, the stuff we call mundane, doesn't count.
And some of that, right, here's I want to talk about in terms of like the church planting space is the inner city work, is unlike, any other work in church planting, in the sense that the needs in our communities are so high, but our ability to meet those needs financially is so low. Because, the average church planting model through the denomination is we support you for 3 years.
That's right.
And then you guys are fully funded and fully supported.
You should have enough people to support.
Absolutely. You'll have enough people, enough money to be able to do these things. Well, in the inner city, after 3 years, if we get more people, that means we have more needs to meet.
Yeah.
That means we have more issues. More
and it may not result into financial.
It will not result in more finances. It will not.
More needs.
It's more needs to be met. With all the same pressure, with more pressure than our suburban counterparts to meet those needs. Nobody's looking at suburban church to say, you guys aren't meeting the needs in the community. They're walking past every church that's in the city and pointing at them and saying, y'all just taking the tithe money and not doing nothing with it. They're not going out to the churches in the suburbs who have millions of dollars in surplus. They're not looking at them and pointing at them and saying that they're not doing anything to meet the needs. They're looking at the church that barely has 50 people.
Wow.
And the people who are there, they have menial jobs. Like, they're looking at them and saying that you're not taking care of the needs of this community. Why does this community look like this if we got 3 churches on every corner? Well, because those churches have less than 50 people in them, and they have less resources than the church that's up the road. But the church planting organizations, they'll pour all their money into the churches that are in the suburbs. And they'll have the expectation of metric meeting for churches in the inner city that we'll never be able to meet.
So you faced obviously some of this, a lot of this.
Absolutely.
How did you guys survive? How'd you guys do it?
By the grace of God. And still surviving.
Right. It was present tense, present progressive.
Tense reality is that we are hanging on while thriving. And so anytime people ask me, how's the church going? I know what they mean. They want to know how many people you got coming and do y'all got a lot of money? That's what they want to know. And so I always start out with the response that our church is thriving spiritually. That we've baptized double the people this year that we've baptized in the past 2 years.
That's dope.
Like, that we have more people coming to membership this year than we had the previous year. That we have marriages being restored within our church. That we have guys who didn't have jobs, who weren't taking care of their responsibilities, who now have jobs and taking care of their responsibilities.
And want to.
And that's how we respond to how the church is doing. And then we can get into how you can help us and the needs. But I want to make it very clear that our lack of resource does not define our lack of ability to fulfill the Great Commission. In fact, it empowers it. It empowers us to be able to do that. And so I take having a group of people who love Jesus and desire to see him be replicated and multiplied over against a group of people who are seeking to have their ecclesiological needs met within the confines of a comfortable space where they can just do Christian life together.
So this is, I mean, obviously you learned this in Camden and you brought this with you to Wilmington. I mean, what led you to plant then in Wilmington and to start doing this yourself?
Yeah, that's ironic. And so, like, it wasn't in the cards for me to plant a church. I said that earlier. In my mind, I was going to be at Camden and take it over when Doug Logan decided to go on to the next thing, which I eventually knew that he would. But one day, he and I took a random trip to Wilmington. Remember, I mentioned earlier that we were doing dog breeding, and so there was a Hispanic cat that we met who lived down in Wilmington, and he wanted to breed to one of our dogs. And so Pastor Doug was like, "Hey, you come with me, like take this ride with me. Like I don't really know this guy, but you know, you big, you can fight. Like
2 by 2.
you know." So
hey, just to be clear,
yeah,
you know, because sometimes you would hear that and you think that's just this neighborhood, but don't forget Jesus sent them out 2 by 2, and they had weapons.
Absolutely,
like they were strapped too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in seasons, like there's sometimes you're gonna go places like, hey, you got to be able to, you got to know.
Yeah.
What's happened, be wise as serpents, be gentle as doves. And so we ain't going out nowhere to cause trouble, but if trouble finds us.
Just in case, you know what I mean? You know.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying there's biblical precedent because, again, like we have some of these conversations and talk about the inner city. And again, the way that criminality is often associated with inner city, I'm just like, yo, in your own Bible, whether you read it in the suburbs or the inner city, those disciples went into spaces where they had to be careful.
Okay.
I'll let y'all talk about that. Listen, I
Did they have a sword or not have a sword?
I'm just saying. Listen, I got a 50-cent mentality. I never want a problem, but if there's a problem, no problem. That's me. And so, you know.
So you headed in with.
we went in, you know, and it's like we went there to see this dog. And as we got off at exit 6, which drops you onto 4th Street, we're riding up 4th Street. And I start asking Pastor Doug, I'm like, I thought we was going to Wilmington. And he's like, we in Wilmington. In my mind, the framework I had for Wilmington was the corporate capital of America.
That's right.
So I had never been in Wilmington. I had only been through it on 95, going down to North Carolina to see my family, right?
Yeah, that's true. A lot of businesses incorporate in Delaware.
Tons of businesses incorporate in Delaware because they're taxes.
Yes, I know.
You know, it's like,
tax
it's how they do. And so like, I'm like confused. I'm like, I thought this was like a nice place. And he's like, man, it's a city like everywhere else. And so we're riding up 4th Street and the Lord just starts pressing on my heart room. It's like,
heart room.
Like what's happening here? And so we get over there, we do the thing, we look at the dog, like, you know, and we're leaving, we're riding back. And the Lord just didn't let up on me about this city. And so I tell my wife, I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like the Lord wants me to do something. I don't know what, but because I'm cool. Like, I'm going to take over Camden, like, when it's all said and done. Like, I mean, we were seeing people come to know Jesus, people I knew, you know, from the neighborhood, people I grew up with. Like, we're seeing stuff like that happening. And I'm like, Jesus, I'm cool, you know? And so the Lord just kept pressing on me. And so now I'm researching Wilmington, and I'm getting mad. I'm like, what am I doing this for? Like, I'm not going down there. Like, what's the problem?
When you say the Lord kept pressing on you, was it the sense in like you just couldn't forget it, or is it like you were losing sleep, or relationships, like people you knew kept bringing up the city? Like, what did it mean that the Lord kept pressing on you?
It was somewhat all the above. Like, I'm losing sleep thinking about this place. Like, the Lord just keeps bringing it back to my mind. I'm riding up the highway now, and I see Wilmington on the sign. And these are the same signs I've rode past all my life.
Never noticed it before.
And I'm seeing Camden, Wilmington. I'm like, when did they put Wilmington on the sign? Like, my wife was like, it's been there. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Like, that just got there. And so
it's like when you buy a new car, and now you see it everywhere. You want a new car everywhere. You're just
I read this article that came out by Newsweek. In 2014, it came out on my birthday in December. And so I'm reading this article. It's this expose all about the city of Wilmington and the challenges that it's facing and were faced at the time. And the title of the article was called Murder Town, USA.
Wow.
And so I'm reading this article and I'm fascinated by the stories in there. And then I get to the bottom of the article. And they were interviewing this man in the article, and they asked him, they said, what's Wilmington like to you? And he said, if I had to describe it, now he's a Wilmington native. He said, if I had to describe it, Wilmington is just South Camden. So he was making a comparison to the city of Camden, and Wilmington just being its southern twin.
And you're from South.
And so that's where he made that connection. And so that didn't mean nothing to nobody else but me, because the neighborhood that my family is from is South Camden. And when I read those words, there are a few times like that I've heard the voice of the Lord audibly. The Lord spoke to me and said, "You're going home."
That's crazy.
And that's when I submitted and surrendered. And I went to Pastor Doug. I was like, "Hey man, I think the Lord wants me to plant a church in Wilmington." And he said, "I know. I could see the look on your face when we were riding around, and I knew that the Lord was dealing with you." And so from that, we started the process of doing a church plant and residency that was connected through, a couple church planting organizations, and we got trained for about a year. And then we set off to go plant in Wilmington.
And that was 7 years ago?
We left Camden in 2016, so almost 10 years since we've been on ground. September 2016, we moved. Started meeting people, had that Christmas party with all these people that we met just from posting up at a coffee shop nearby, inviting people to this Christmas party in 2016. So our first action at the church was December 2016.
Okay.
And so almost 10 years.
What would you say to people who are wondering, like, should I be involved in this type of work?
Yeah.
Or people who are wondering, I know there's people who, with money and resources, like, why should they fund works like this?
Absolutely. Well, I'll say this. The work that we've been able to do in the city of Wilmington, in a city that's geographically located in the middle of it all. And so Wilmington is 1 hour from the furthest point of Philadelphia. It's 1 hour from Baltimore. It's 2 hours from New York City to the north. It's 2 hours from DC to the south. And so we are geographically located in a position where we can reach the nations. And we have people who come to Wilmington as a landing spot to their next place. And so we view ourselves as the indigenous disciple makers of the next generation of leaders across the country and the globe. And so as you come to Wilmington, whose motto used to be a place to be somebody, it's literally a place where we can impact the nations. And I want to encourage any urban church planter with that reality. Like, you have the ability to impact the nations. Don't consider the work that you do too small or to not be significant enough. You have the ability right where you are to reach the nations. And so, our church has consistently been a place where community matters. One of our core values is that we live woven. And we take that expression into every area of our city, every area of our community. We have organizations that meet at our church. We partner with organizations who do work on the west side of the city. Like, we're deeply connected in the city. When we first got there, one of our first actions was to throw a community day. And so that community day, we called it Good in the Hood, because we wanted to display and declare that there is good things that happen in the city. Most people in the city that, that Ty Tribbett song, he from Camden too. So that
come on now,
that song, Good in the Hood,
exactly what popped in my head.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he talks about how people, that's the one. Yeah. He talks about how most of the people in the hood are just regular people who are trying to, like, make ends meet and try to live their life. But the reality is that most of those people have a difficult time because they live in impoverished environments. And so we did this community event in the most violent city in the most violent park in the city at the time.
That's crazy.
So much so that the police department called me, and when I did the application, and they said, you know, this park has, you know, a lot of violence. And I was like, yeah, we know. Like, we want to bring some light to it. And so the lieutenant drove to my house. His name's I gotta tell y'all his name. His name's Lieutenant Dan. And so he pulls up to my house. White guy. He pulls up to my house and he's like, yo, bro, what's up? And I was like,
no, he didn't.
He did. He's like, yo, bro, what's up? And I was like, Lieutenant Dan, you got new legs. And we were tight. And so he walks up to me and he's like, listen,
y'all get that movie reference later.
Yeah, you'll get it later. He said, listen, you doing this event in my park? And I was like, yeah, man. He's like, you know what goes on down there? I said, yeah, I do. He's like, you're not scared? I said, nah, bro, I got the gospel. And the gospel is the power of God. I said, and so I'm not worried about anything. I said, because if I got the power of God, I can do anything. And he was like, okay, all right, we'll see. You know? And so we did this event. We did the event. Served about 600 families that day. We were grilling and giving out school supplies. We had local organizations come out. We did all this stuff. Lieutenant Dan comes running across the field to me. Now I got this white man in uniform running across the field at me. And I'm like, uh-oh, what
Consider the
optics. He gets over to me and he's like, Pastor D, I have to tell you this. I'm like, what's up? You know, like, I'm what's going on? He said, you see that guy over there on the corner? I said, yeah. He said, he's lived here since before the 1968 riots.
That's crazy.
He's been in this city he's been in that house over 50 years. I said, really? He said, he told me that he hasn't seen this much joy in this neighborhood since before the 1968 riots.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Man, I could have died and went to heaven right then.
Yeah. That's why we do it.
That's why we do it.
Amen, bro.
And so, praise to God, man.
Is that park still as violent?
No.
My thought was, like, what, over the time that you've been in that neighborhood, has there been some sense of, like, understanding, like, oh, this is why violence existed? Like, people talk about the economic determinants of crime.
Yeah.
Have you seen that, like, firsthand? And then, like, now that you've seen sort of the evolution of that neighborhood in that city, like, has there been a sense of, like, oh, this is why these, you know, urban centers are like this? And now that you come in, you go, all they need is.
Yeah, it's hope. And I say that very sensitively because Christians can get accused of pie in the sky. But the reality is that what we have been able to do through the grace of God is provide a sense of hope to a community that has desperately needed it. To see people in our neighborhood walking around, we made these, you know, those little cinch bags that people wear, like they're like this kind of cloth, and you can like put the strings on. We gave out these things, we called them blessing bags, and we constantly see people walking around the city wearing those bags with our logo on it, and they put all types of stuff in the bags, you know. But like we constantly see that, and there's just a sense of hope in our city that, and we're not the first ones to do it. That's one of my pet peeves. People plant churches and they're like, we're taking the gospel because the gospel doesn't exist there. Right, like, shut up. Like, the gospel's been here longer than you've been thought about. All the time. Like, you know? And so, like, we've brought a sense of hope there. But there's a real reality. Like, we partner with a local school, and they tell us on a regular that they don't have any other churches that partner with them across the district. That our church is the only church that partners with them. And so, you know, there's a real reality that we have the ability to restore hope to people, which in turn causes them to see something different and helps them to attain to something.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we've seen some of the fruit of that just by seeking to be faithful to the holistic call to the gospel, to care for mind, body, and soul. And not just some theological ascertainment, of orthodoxy over orthopraxy and all that. So
that's good, man.
Yeah.
Good. Man, Pastor Derrick, this has been great, bro.
Awesome,
it's been great having you, man.
Awesome, man.
And I got like a whole bunch of other like questions and thoughts, but
sure.
I think we'll be here all day if we continue.
Hey, bring me back for part 2.
For sure, man, for sure.
Come through.
But listen, for those that are listening to the Unsilent Church podcast, we want to encourage you to like, share, comment. Feel free to share your thoughts as well. For those that have had experiences being on a core team with a church plant, maybe helping, maybe if you're a pastor that has planted a church as well. Love to hear your thoughts and comments as well, the good and the bad and ugly of church planting in the inner city. And so make sure you do that. And then y'all gonna get that movie reference too when y'all watch this back. Y'all gonna get that movie. Y'all, as the pastors, they say they gonna get it on the way home.
They gonna get it on the way home.
Get it on the way home. All right.
On the way home.
Like we always say, love God, love people. We're out. Peace.